Greetings and salutations, YouTube. Friday night here in good old Utah. Not a whole lot else to do but jam some tunes and show some music, show some records. Might turn this down. It's a little on the loud side for recording. There we go. That's a little better. Anyway, what we're listening to tonight is the album Dawn for the Living by Grinder. This is the first album. This is a German thrash metal band. This is a reissue on Tribunal/Dive Bomb Records from a few years ago. Again, Grinder, German thrash. Though honestly, they kind of sound a lot more like American thrash. The hype sticker says Flotsam and Jetsam, Sacred Reich and Realm. Yeah, I hear some of that. I also hear some Assassin as well, I would say. Maybe the second album, Interstellar Experience, that kind of thing. But, yeah, definitely some, some B-rate German thrash, but pretty good German thrash. Grinder. So, that is the soundtrack to this video. Alright, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've actually got 8 records here. This is a collection update, if you will. This is all new stuff that I've gotten pretty recently and have been jamming for the last little bit. So we will start off first with probably the band with one of the worst band names I've ever heard. This band is called Goats of Doom. And the album is Shiva. So yes, Goats of Doom, Shiva. This is a 2022 release. This is on... Let's take the record out of there and see what label it's on, shall we? This is on Purity Through Fire Records. So this is a Finnish black metal band. This definitely has some rock and roll vibes to it, like especially on the first side. Kind of reminds me of another Finnish black metal band at times, Impaled Nazarene, a bit. It kind of gets some of that dirty rock and roll vibe, but it also gets into some of the more epic Finnish moments where it kind of makes me think, it has the melody of of stuff like Some Horna and Satanic War Master and stuff like that. Production's pretty crisp, though, actually. Not super raw or anything like that. I decided to check it out because I was intrigued. I saw this in a distro, Wolf Crypt distro. This is something I got from them. And I saw the band name, and I was like, Goats of Doom. That's a fucking terrible name. Who the hell would name their band Goats of Doom? So I decided to look it up on YouTube because that intrigued me, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how good it was. It was actually pretty catchy, pretty memorable. Like I said, side 1 has more that Impaled Nazarene vibe, and side 2 is probably a little bit more, like, there's more keyboards and kind of more atmosphere and stuff like that. But I really actually liked it. So Shiva by Goats of Doom. Record number 1. Okay. Record number 2. This is Lost Tribe. This is the self-titled record by Lost Tribe. From 2011. The label, it's not easy for me to read what it is, but so Lost Tribe was a kind of post-punk goth band from Richmond, Virginia. They released 2 albums. I believe this is the first of the 2 albums. The singer, Davey, is currently in the band The Wraith, who put out an album a few years ago on Southern Lord. The Wraith are really good, and Lost Tribe are very similar to that. Kind of has that first album Christian death kind of vibe. When like Rick Agnew was in the band, very punky, very catchy. It definitely has that. You get keyboards on here and things like that. It's very, a little more driving, upbeat, but it has that. It's like a goth punk, post-punk sort of vibe. Recording is there's a lot of reverb on the vocals and things of that nature, but lots of really good catchy songs. I really like White Noise, the song called Winter, the song called The Laughter as well on Lost Tribe here. So, really good stuff. Kind of a semi-forgotten band. Like I said, this was released over a decade ago, but like I said, The Wraith is really worth checking out as well. Lost Tribe. Okay, next. Got 2 albums by the same band. This is Pan American Native Front. This is the first record, Tecumseh's War. This is a reissue on Nuclear War Now. This was a 2016 album. So, Pan American Native Front is a one-man. You can call it a war metal project based out of Chicago, Illinois. It is Native American themed, of course, dealing a lot with Native American history and kind of, in this case, Tecumseh, who was one of the most powerful and charismatic Native American leaders, who was responsible for building the largest confederacy of indigenous tribes to battle against North American settlers and invaders. So on this record, again, like it is war metal, but it's got a lot of melody to it. There's also a lot of, there's some native instrumentation. You get like some classic kind of skin drums, and like there's like some flute and things like that. So I mean it kind of, I guess, a comparison. Some people might compare this to, I would say, Jiaba, which is the Canadian First Nations kind of indigenous war metal. It definitely reminds me of that. Some of the maybe a little bit of the Black Twilight Circle stuff, just a wee bit too. So this is the first album, 2016, Pan American Native Front, Tecumseh's War, on Nuclear War Now. And the follow-up record, this is I believe the 2020 second album by Pan American Native Front that is called Little Turtles War. This continues along the same path, and this kind of, again, is telling the story of the efforts of the Western Confederacy to fight against the incursion of European settlers and invaders in North America. So, again, pretty similar to Tecumseh's War. I would say there's perhaps a little bit more melody on this. Production's a little bit better as well. I'm going to see songs that stood out. Let's take the jacket out, and I could look again at the titles. I really liked Battle of the Wabash. Was quite good. And then the last track on side B, which of course is, it's in an indigenous tongue, and I don't know I wouldn't even know. It's something like Nakanan Laki Mekawila Maka. I'm just butchering it. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, stupid white guy trying to say something in a native dialect. Terrible job, but great artwork on this. There's all the song titles on there. Yeah, so this was, again, 2022, Nuclear War Now, Pan American Native Front. Really cool band, worth checking out. If you dig war metal stuff, but even if you're not super into war metal, this isn't like unlistenable. I mean, because for some bands, they're very monotone in that genre. I like it. If I'm in the mood for it, I can listen to a lot of that stuff. But this definitely has more dynamics, like I said, more melody. There's a lot of, like I said, some of the native indigenous music gets woven into it and things like that. So it's worth checking out. Okay. So, little more, almost halfway there. So, next up, we have the German death thrash band Messiah with Choir of Horrors. This is their 1991 release here. This is a reissue that is on High Roller Records. So, Messiah, this band started out as more of a brutal thrash band in the mid-'80s. I think their first record was released in 1986. And they were kind of, like I said, more akin to stuff like Possessed and Dark Angel in their early days, maybe even a little more brutal than that to some extent. Maybe like We Have Arrived, Dark Angel, that kind of stuff. But this sees them being fully a death metal band. Now, the main influences that I hear on this, I hear a lot of Morbid Angel, like Altars of Madness era Morbid Angel. I also hear a lot of Pestilence, like Testimony of the Ancients, Pestilence, and Death, probably like Spiritual Healing, Death, quite a bit of that on here as well. Maybe a little, some of that, some of Leprosy era Death. So yeah, those are like the main influences. But it is really competently played, really well performed. We'll take that out of the sleeve there. You can kind of see cool artwork. Got a picture of the guys on the back there. Best songs on this. The title track, Choir of Horrors, is really good. I also really like Northern Command and Munchausen Syndrome on side B there. Yeah, so these guys, they don't get a whole lot of credit. I mean, they continue to put out a couple. They had a few records before this, and they put out a couple after this. I mean, I guess some people would consider them kind of B-tier death thrash stuff, I mean, not breaking any new ground, not anything ultra original or anything like that. But again, if you like classic late 80s, early 90s death metal with kind of with a thrashy vibe, you would like this. And you could do a lot worse than this record. So I've got some more of their stuff. I'll probably be talking about it more, maybe in another update. But I like this record a lot. And again, I could definitely hear that Pestilence, Testimony of the Ancient vibes was certainly there. And I really like that record. Maybe not as much as Consuming Impulse, but again, really good. Vocals don't sound like Van Drunen or anything. It's more just musically like that, and it is very thrashy. So, Messiah, Choir of Horrors on High Roller. All right. Next up, this is a reissue also of Death Row, Deception Ignored. So, this is Death Row, if you don't know, German thrash metal band. Again, kind of continuing on the German vibe. Their earlier stuff was more speed thrash. This is progressive thrash, definitely so. So this is coming out in, I think, 1989, I believe, originally. I don't know, I can't quite remember here, because of course this is a reissue, so it's telling me when it was put out, but so kind of more along the lines of I wouldn't say Voivod, but it's like, I mean, almost like there's elements of like kind of like Coroner and some of the like Alan Tecchio era like Watchtower and stuff going on, and it's really good musically. A lot of tight riffing and nice key changes and time changes. The downfall of this record, however, there is something I don't like about it: the vocals. The vocals are at times border on terrible, honestly. Like, some of the singing is not good. It's attempting at clean singing and attempting to have more of kind of that classic kind of almost like Iron Maiden, Grim Reaper kind of new Wabum singing, like a little, but I can't remember which member of the band is doing the vocals, but a lot of the times he does not pull it off. And so I find myself kind of finding the record hard to get into because the vocals really take me out of it, where you're like, damn, you guys should have hired like an actual vocalist to do this, because you're not pulling it off. Musically, it's great. Like I said, really awesome thrash. You know, very forward-thinking songs and stuff. I mean, not proggy at all, but it's like, you know, again, like really tight riffing and, you know, complicated drumming and great rhythms and stuff. But vocals, you know, they're an acquired taste. I mean, if you, after listening to this a few times, it didn't bother me as much. I kind of just focus on the music, and like I said, not every song. Some songs, the vocals are better than others. You know, I can't really think off the top of my head which ones vocally, because you know, I don't know. It's definitely the sore thumb here. But I mean, I've listened to other Death Row and I like it. I like this record a lot too. But like I said, it's hard to recommend to everyone. You should check it out. Listen to it for yourself a little bit on YouTube. Sample it before you buy it, because again, those vocals could be a real make or break for a lot of people. So, Death Row, Deception Ignored. All right. 2 more, and then I'll stop fucking annoying the shit out of you with my ramblings. Okay, this is the death metal band Atrocity. This is the first record by Atrocity. This is Hallucinations. This is an original press. This is a first press. I actually just got this recently. Like I said, I have not owned this for a long time. But 1990 on Nuclear Blast Records there. You can see photos of all the dudes there shredding it up. This record is an excellent death metal record. Very, I would say, for a 1990 death metal record, it is quite technical, too. These guys went on to become more of they became more of an actual progressive, like, kind of death metal, power metal, everything but the kitchen sink metal band. Their second record is also a really good death metal record. I have that on CD. I'll probably show that at some point when I'm just feel like parading some CDs in front of the camera. But yeah, this is like death metal it's fast, it's really aggressive, there's lots of riffs per song, you know, really good harsh vocals. I mean, you can tell these guys are real, you know, right off the bat, these guys are really talented. Like, first album, they're putting a lot of bands to shame as far as like their chops and things like that. And really good, catchy songwriting too, actually, I would say. I mean, looking at it, let's see. Favorite songs, I would have to say Fatal Step is really good. Life Was a Long and Silent River. Abyss of Addiction, really good. Last Temptation. All awesome songs on here. Like I said, by the third album, shit starts to get weird. Actually, most of these dudes actually are in the band Leaves' Eyes with Liv Kristen, which is kind of more of like a gothic power metal type thing. So it's kind of weird to hear this and hear like this really raging tech death metal and think that, you know, like, oh, those guys are in, you know, this kind of more gothy, you know, pop metal band. But, you know, again, they were really talented, and I guess they wanted to just, you know, try their hand and stuff, and they're good at Magnus, I'm making a video. One of my kids is walking in while I'm making a video here. But anyway, Atrocity, Hallucinations on Nuclear Blast. Okay, last record I've got here. This is something that is a brand new band here. This is a Greek black metal band called Drakon Homegus, and with an album title that's in Greek, and I cannot read what it says. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of English translation on the back. There is not, but there it is, Drakon Homegus. This is their first album from 2021. They have on Floga Records. They have a new album that's supposedly out now, that just came out. I have not heard it yet. I intend to hear it. So, Drakon Homegus, again, Greek black metal band, and that tells you a lot about what you're going to get here, because Drakon Homegus definitely have that early Rotting Christ sound. It very much sounds like the first 3 albums of Rotting Christ. There is, you know, a little bit of that second wave vibe creeps in there, but I mean, I definitely hear a lot of like Non Serviam, Thy Mighty Contract in these songs. You get, you know, a little bit of keyboard. All the lyrics are definitely biblical. All the songs are it's very biblically inclined. I mean, the song titles are Genesis, From Creation to Chaos, Lilith, the Womb of Darkness, Leviathan, Cain, Dracon Omegas, and then Babylon, the Great Whore. So, biblical themed black metal, just really good Hellenic black metal. Of course, all the Greek stuff. Damn it, trying to fucking sleeve the record like an idiot again. When am I gonna learn, right? When am I gonna fucking learn? This stuff, it always has a good, solid dose of classic heavy metal, of all the melodies and really good riffs that you're gonna hear in classic heavy metal, and that's one of the things I love about the Greek black metal scene. I'm a sucker for not just Rotting Christ, but Verathron, Thou Art Lord, Necromantia. All those bands were just masters at writing super catchy riffs and, incorporating a lot of atmosphere and keyboards and, gothic vibes and things like that in there. So, and Dracon Omegas are no different at all than that. So, definitely worth checking out. I'm going to check out the new record. Probably will buy this. This is, like I said, Floga Records. That's 2021 release. So, that's all I've got for the moment. I've talked a lot about other video plans. I've got one idea that I don't want to give away yet for a themed video that's probably going to come up. And like I said, I probably will do the Can Metalheads Be audiophiles, because not only, like I said, as I mentioned in the previous video, I bought new speakers, but I've also bought a new integrated amp as well to power said speakers. So it's been a massive upgrade to the stereo system. So I'm pretty excited to kind of show that shit off. And you drop money on that kind of shit. Of course, you wanna brag about it a little bit. So anyway, I know not a lot of people are watching these videos yet. I'm hoping to get a little more reach here and everything, and hopefully, again, like I said, editing, that kind of stuff, get a camera, because I know video quality not so great on my laptop. I mean, even though it's a pretty new laptop. Yeah. Alright, but that's all I have for now, so signing off. See you in hell, motherfuckers.